Driverly.com, unlimited drama series.
The notification sound from Jenna's phone cut through the 2 a.m. silence like a knife. I'd been lying awake for 3 hours, staring at the ceiling of our bedroom, while my wife of 12 years slept peacefully beside me. Her auburn hair spread across the pillow like she was posing for a magazine cover. Even in sleep, Jenna Denver looked like she was ready for a board meeting. The phone buzzed again. Then again. I rolled over and squinted at the glowing screen on her nightstand. 3 text messages from someone named C, with a fire emoji next to it. Real subtle, Jenna. Real professional for a 37-year-old advertising executive. My name is Alex Denver, and I used to think I was married to the smartest woman in upstate New York. Turns out, I was half right about the marriage part. The phone buzzed a 4th time. I couldn't help myself. I reached over and grabbed it. The screen was still unlocked from her last check before bed. Amateur mistake, honey. Missing you already. Can't wait for our weekend in Albany. Your husband suspect anything? Clay. Clay, with a fire emoji. My wife was sexting someone named Clay at 2 a.m. while I lay 3 feet away from her. I scrolled up through their conversation, my military training, keeping my breathing steady, even as my world crumbled around me. Months of messages, detailed plans, hotel reservations. Photos I definitely didn't want to see but couldn't stop looking at. Alex is so clueless, one message read. He actually thinks I'm working late every Tuesday and Thursday. Poor guy has no idea I'm getting the best sex of my life from a real man. When are you going to leave him? Clay had responded. I'm tired of sharing you with that boring IT nerd. Soon. I'm just waiting for the right moment. Need to make sure I get half of everything first. He's got more saved up than he lets on. I set the phone down carefully, exactly where I'd found it. My hands weren't shaking. That surprised me. 12 years of marriage, and I felt nothing. No, that wasn't right. I felt something. I felt clarity. Jenna stirred beside me, her hand reaching across the bed. Alex? You okay, baby? Fine, I whispered. Just couldn't sleep. Go back to bed. She mumbled something and rolled over. Within minutes, she was snoring softly again. The same woman who'd been planning my financial destruction while screwing some guy named Clay was sleeping like a baby next to me. I slipped out of bed and padded downstairs to my home office. Jenna always called it my man cave, with that condescending smile she'd perfected. Tonight, it felt more like a command center. I opened my laptop and started typing. First, I needed to know everything about Clay. Then, I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. My military logistics training hadn't prepared me for marital warfare, but the principles were the same. Gather intelligence, assess the situation, plan your strategy, execute with precision. 3 hours later, I had a complete picture. Clayton Hartford, 42, real estate developer, divorced twice, owned a penthouse downtown, drove a BMW M8, and apparently had enough charm to convince my wife to throw away 12 years of marriage. I also had copies of every text message, every photo, and every hotel receipt from Jenna's email account. She'd been sloppy with her digital security. Another amateur mistake. The sun was coming up when I heard her alarm go off upstairs. I closed my laptop and headed back to bed, slipping under the covers just as she was getting up. Morning, honey, she said, kissing my forehead. You're up early. Couldn't sleep, I said. Big project at work. She nodded, already focused on her phone, probably checking for messages from Clay. I'll be late tonight. Big presentation for the Morrison account. Of course you will, I said. She paused, looking at me with those green eyes that used to make my heart skip. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Jen. Just that you're always working late these days. She relaxed. You know how it is. Climbing the corporate ladder. Someone has to pay for this house. Right. Someone had to pay for it. And someone had been paying for it for 12 years while she planned her exit strategy with her boyfriend. Have a great day, honey, I said. She smiled and headed for the shower. I waited until I heard the water running, then picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't called in 2 years. Tom Briggs Investigations, a gravelly voice answered. Tom, it's Alex Denver. Alex? Jesus, man, how long has it been? How's married life treating you? Tom Briggs had been my sergeant in Afghanistan. Now he ran a private investigation firm here in Albany. We'd kept in touch after I got out of the Army, but Jenna had never liked him. Said he was rough around the edges for her social circle. That's actually why I'm calling, I said. I need your professional services. Divorce case? Something like that. How fast can you put together a complete background check and financial profile on someone? Depends on how deep you want me to dig and how much you're willing to pay. Money's no object, and I want you to go deep, real deep. Give me a name. Clayton Hartford. Real estate developer, downtown Albany. Tom whistled low. Clay Hartford? That slick bastard? What's he done now? You know him? Know of him. He's got a reputation. Married money twice, divorced both wives after cleaning them out. Real piece of work. What's your interest in him? I listened to the shower still running upstairs. Let's just say our interests have become aligned. I can have everything you need by tomorrow morning, but Alex, if you're thinking about doing something stupid, I'm thinking about doing something smart, I said. Now for the first time in 12 years. After I hung up, I made coffee and sat at my kitchen table, looking out at the perfect suburban neighborhood Jenna had insisted we move to. The perfect house, the perfect lawn, the perfect life. All built on lies. My phone buzzed. A text from Jenna. Love you, baby. See you tonight. I typed back, love you too. But as I sent the message, I was already planning how to destroy her. Tom delivered the files at 7 a.m. sharp, just like the old days. I met him at Denny's on Route 9, far enough from our neighborhood that none of Jenna's friends would spot us. He slid a thick manila envelope across the table and grinned. Your boy Clay is quite the operator, Tom said, cutting into his pancakes. 3 businesses, 2 bankruptcies, and a pattern of dating married women? Real charmer. I flipped through the photographs and documents. Clay Hartford was everything I'd expected. Tall, tan, expensive suits, the kind of smile that belonged in a toothpaste commercial. The kind of man who probably called women sweetheart and thought it was charming. Here's the interesting part, Tom continued, pointing to a financial document. He's leveraged to the eyeballs. That penthouse, mortgaged 3 times over. The BMW, leased. The fancy suits, probably maxed out credit cards. Your wife's boyfriend is broke. So he's after her money? Or yours, more likely. Jenna makes good money at the agency, but you're the one with the real assets. Military pension, that IT consulting business you run on the side, the house, the investments. You're worth more than she knows, aren't you? I nodded. I've been careful about money, saving and investing while Jenna spent freely. She knew about our joint accounts, but not about the business accounts or the investment portfolio I'd built over the years. What's your play here, Alex? I closed the folder and met his eyes. I'm going to give her exactly what she wants, which is freedom. Tom laughed. You always were a cold bastard when you put your mind to it. What do you need from me? Surveillance. I want to know every move they make, every place they go, every lie they tell, and I want it documented. That's not cheap. Like I said, money's no object. We shook hands, and I drove home to start phase 2. Jenna had already left for work, leaving behind the usual mess, coffee cup in the sink, makeup scattered across the bathroom counter, her laptop open on the kitchen table. Her laptop. She'd been careless again. I spent an hour going through her files, her emails, her browsing history. The affair had been going on for 8 months. They'd been planning their future together, including how to maximize her divorce settlement. There were emails to lawyers, research on New York divorce law, even a spreadsheet calculating the value of our assets. My wife, the advertising executive, had been planning the campaign of her life. Too bad she'd underestimated her target audience. I made copies of everything and stored them on an encrypted drive. Then I started making phone calls. First call, my boss at the IT firm, where I worked as a project manager. Dave, it's Alex. I need to talk to you about that Seattle position you offered me last year. The senior systems architect job? That's still open. Why, you interested now? I thought Jenna didn't want to leave Albany. Jenna's priorities have changed. Is the offer still good? Hell yes. When can you start? 2 weeks. Done. I'll have HR send the paperwork today. Second call, our real estate agent. Hi, Susan, Alex Denver. I need you to prepare a market analysis on our house. We're thinking about selling. Really? But Jenna loves that house. She's always talking about the renovations she wants to do. Plans change. How fast could we close if we priced it right? In this market, with a house like yours, 30 days, maybe less. Perfect. I'll call you back. Third call, my lawyer. Bill, it's Alex Denver. I need to see you today. It's urgent. What's the matter? I'm getting divorced. By the time Jenna came home that evening at 10:30 p.m., claiming she'd been working late on the Morrison account, I had set everything in motion. The job transfer was approved, the house was ready to list, and I'd opened new bank accounts in Seattle. How was your day, honey? She asked, kissing my cheek. She smelled like expensive cologne, not mine. Productive, I said. How was the presentation? Great. Morrison loved our campaign. We're celebrating tomorrow night. Another late night? Probably. You know how these client dinners go. I nodded. I'm sure Clay will be there. She froze. What? Clay Morrison, the client. He'll be at the dinner, right? Her relief was visible. Oh, yes, of course. Big client dinner. Well, have fun. She studied my face for a moment, looking for something. Are you okay, Alex? You've been acting strange lately. Just tired. Work's been stressful. Maybe we should take a vacation, get away somewhere nice. That's a great idea, I said. In fact, I've been thinking we both need a fresh start. She smiled. Really? Where were you thinking? I was thinking you should go wherever makes you happy, Jen. Life's too short to waste time on things that don't matter. She kissed me again. I love you, Alex. I know, I said. After she went to bed, I sat in my office and finalized my plans. Tom had already started surveillance. The house would go on the market Monday. The job transfer was official, and tomorrow I would start the most important campaign of my life. Jenna wanted freedom. I was going to give her more freedom than she'd ever dreamed of. Friday evening, I followed them. Tom had given me Clay's address and his schedule. The penthouse was in one of those glass towers downtown that screamed, "Look at me," from 20 miles away. I parked across the street and waited. At 6:47 p.m., Jenna's silver Audi pulled into the parking garage. She was 47 minutes late to her own affair. Some things never change. I gave them an hour, then made my move. The building's security was a joke. Expensive looking, but poorly implemented. I'd learned a few things about electronic locks during my IT career. The service elevator took me to the 20th floor, without anyone asking questions. I could hear them through the door. Jenna's laugh, the one she used to save for me. Clay's voice, smooth and confident. They were having wine on his balcony, probably admiring the view of the city they were planning to conquer together. I didn't knock. Instead, I placed a small device against the door, a gift from Tom's surveillance kit. It would record everything for the next 6 hours. Then I went home and waited. Saturday morning, Jenna was gone before I woke up. Yoga class with the girls, according to the note she'd left. Right. Yoga with Clay, more likely. I spent the morning packing. Not everything. I didn't want to tip her off yet. Just the important stuff. Documents, photographs, personal items that mattered. Everything went into storage unit I'd rented across town. My phone rang at noon. Tom. You need to hear this, he said. We met at his office, a cramped space above a Chinese restaurant that smelled like soy sauce and disappointment. Tom played the recording from Clay's apartment. He has no idea, Jenna's voice came through clearly. Alex thinks I'm at yoga right now. When are you going to tell him? Clay asked. Soon. My lawyer says I should wait until after we close on the Morrison deal. That commission will be mine, not ours. What about the house? That's the tricky part. It's in both our names, but Alex put down most of the down payment. I need to be careful about how I handle this. Maybe we should make him want to leave. Jenna laughed. Alex? He'd never leave me. He's completely dependent on me. Has been since we got married. He thinks I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. Poor bastard. Don't feel sorry for him. He's had 12 good years. That's more than most people get. I stopped the recording. There's more, Tom said. About 6 hours of it. They spent a lot of time talking about your money. Play the rest later, I said. Right now, I need you to do something else. What? I want you to follow Clay. Learn his routine, his habits, his weaknesses. And I want to know about his business dealings, everything. You planning something specific? I'm planning everything. Sunday night, Jenna came home early. She seemed nervous, distracted. She kept checking her phone and looking at me like she was trying to solve a puzzle. Alex, we need to talk, she said finally. My heart rate didn't change. Military training. About what? About us. About our marriage. What about it? She sat down across from me at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd discovered her laptop password and read months of her lies. I think we've grown apart, she said. We want different things now. Do we? Yes. I want to travel, to take risks, to live a little. You want to stay here forever, in this house, in this routine. And you've found someone who wants the same things you want? She went pale. What do you mean? Nothing.
2 key cards. You asked for 2. Who was the second for?
My colleague needed a place.
Your colleague who calls you baby in her texts?
Watch more on Grammarly.com.
I just mean that people change. Sometimes they grow in different directions. She relaxed slightly. Exactly. So you understand. I understand perfectly. Maybe we should consider a trial separation, just to see how we feel. That's not a bad idea, I said. In fact, I think it's a great idea. She blinked. Really? Really. I want you to be happy, Jen. If you need space to figure out what you want, you should take it. You're being very mature about this. We're both adults. These things happen. She reached across the table and touched my hand. I do love you, Alex. I hope you know that. I know, I said. After she went to bed, I called Tom. It's time, I said. For what? Phase 3. What's Phase 3? Clay Hartford is about to have the worst week of his life. Monday morning, I submitted the paperwork for my transfer to Seattle. Monday afternoon, the house went on the market. Monday evening, Clay's BMW was towed from his building's parking garage for unpaid violations. Tom had discovered that Clay owed the city over $3,000 in parking tickets and fees. One anonymous tip to the right department, and his precious car was impounded. Tuesday, Clay's business license was suspended pending an investigation into irregularities in his financial reporting. Another anonymous tip, this one to the State Revenue Department. Turns out, Clay had been creative with his tax filings. Wednesday, Clay's ex-wife's lawyer received copies of Clay's current financial statements, proving he'd been hiding assets during their divorce settlement. That cost him another $50,000 in back alimony. Thursday, Clay's landlord received documentation showing that Clay had been subletting his penthouse without permission, violating his lease agreement. By Friday, Clay Hartford was broke, homeless, and facing multiple investigations, and Jenna still had no idea what was coming for her. Jenna's world started cracking on Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen making coffee when her phone rang. She answered it in that bright, fake voice she used for work calls, but I could hear the panic creeping in as the conversation continued. What do you mean suspended? She said, walking into the living room. Clay, slow down. What investigation? I couldn't hear his responses, but I could imagine them. Tom had done excellent work. Your car was what? How do you owe $3,000 in parking tickets? She disappeared upstairs, her voice rising with each question. 20 minutes later, she came back down looking like she'd seen a ghost. Everything okay? I asked. Fine, she said quickly. Just work stuff. On Saturday? Client emergency. I nodded and went back to reading my newspaper. The real estate section had a nice article about the hot sellers market. Our house would probably sell within the week. Jenna's phone rang again. This time, she answered it in the garage, where she thought I couldn't hear her. But I could hear everything through the kitchen wall. This is insane, Clay. How does someone owe $50,000 in back alimony? You told me you were divorced years ago. More panicked conversation. What do you mean you can't see me tonight? Where are you going to stay? By Sunday, Jenna was a wreck. She kept making phone calls and pacing around the house. She'd check her laptop, make another call, then stare at me like I was a puzzle she couldn't solve. Alex, she said finally, I need to tell you something. What's that? I've been seeing someone else. I looked up from my book. Oh? For the past few months. I didn't plan for it to happen, but it did. And I think I'm in love with him. That's quite a development. She stared at me. That's all you have to say? What would you like me to say? I don't know. Something, anything. I just told you I'm having an affair. I heard you. And? And what, Jenna? You want me to fight for you? You want me to beg you to stay? You want me to make a scene? I want you to react like a normal human being. I closed my book and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd loved for 12 years, who'd been planning to destroy me for 8 months. Here's my reaction, I said. I hope you're very happy together. That's it? That's it. She stood there for a long moment, opening and closing her mouth like a fish out of water. I'm going to stay at Sarah's tonight, she said finally. Sarah Chen was her best friend from the advertising agency, another ambitious climber who'd never liked me. They deserved each other. Take your time, I said. After she left, I called Tom. How's our boy Clay doing? Living in a Motel 6 on Route 20. His credit cards are maxed out, his bank accounts are frozen pending the tax investigation, and his ex-wife's lawyers garnishing what's left of his income. Perfect. What about his business? Dead in the water. Turns out when you can't pay your contractors or your office rent, people stop working with you. Any word on Jenna? She's been calling everyone she knows, trying to find someone to loan Clay money. No takers. Even her friend Sarah told her she was crazy to get involved with him. Monday morning brought the first showing for our house. By Monday afternoon, we had 3 offers, all above asking price. Monday evening, Jenna came home. We need to talk, she said. About what? About the house. I saw the real estate signs. What the hell, Alex? You said you wanted a fresh start. I'm giving you one. I never said I wanted to sell the house. You said you wanted space to figure things out. I thought you might want to do that somewhere else. This is my home. It's our home. And now it's sold. She stared at me. Sold? Already? We accepted an offer this afternoon. Cash deal, 30-day closing. You can't do this without my signature. Actually, I can. Check our mortgage agreement. Either party can initiate a sale as long as the proceeds are split equally. She grabbed the contract from my hands and read through it, her face getting redder with each page. Where am I supposed to live? I assumed you'd figured that out already. You've been planning this for months, haven't you? Planning what? The separation, the divorce, the new life with Clay. She went very still. How do you know about Clay? Lucky guess. Alex, I can explain. No need. You're adults. You made your choices. I'm just trying to make the transition as smooth as possible. What about you? Where are you going? Seattle. I got a promotion. Seattle? When? I start next month. She sat down heavily on the couch. This is all happening too fast. Is it? Because from where I'm sitting, it's been happening for 8 months. I'm just catching up. Her phone rang. She looked at the caller ID and declined it. Clay? I asked. She nodded. Trouble in paradise? He's going through a rough patch. I heard. Tax problems, ex-wife issues, business troubles. That's a lot of rough patches. How do you know about his problems? Small town. People talk. She looked at me suspiciously. People talk about what? About Clay Hartford and his reputation. About the married women he dates. About the money he owes and the bridges he's burned. You've been checking up on him. I've been protecting myself. Which, as it turns out, was smart. Her phone rang again. This time she answered it. Clay, I can't talk right now. What do you mean evicted? Where are you? No, you can't stay here. Because my husband is here, that's why. She looked at me while she talked, her eyes pleading. I shook my head. I'll call you back, she said, hanging up. Let me guess, I said. He needs a place to stay. Just for a few days. No. Alex, please. He has nowhere else to go. That's not my problem. I thought you wanted me to be happy. I do, just not in my house. She started crying then. Real tears, not the manipulative kind she used when she wanted something. This wasn't supposed to happen like this, she sobbed. How was it supposed to happen? I don't know, I thought you'd fight for me. Why would I fight for someone who doesn't want to be here? Because you love me. I did love you. Past tense. She looked up at me through her tears. What happened to you, Alex? You used to be so what? So naive? So trusting? So easy to manipulate? So caring? I still care. That's why I'm making this easy for you. You want out? You're out. Clean break, no drama, no lawyers fighting over every dish and photograph. But what about us? What about our life together? What about it? You threw it away 8 months ago. Her phone rang again. She let it go to voicemail. I made a mistake, she said. Yes, you did. You got caught. No, I mean with Clay. He's not who I thought he was. Who did you think he was? Someone successful, someone exciting, someone who could give me the life I wanted. And now? Now he's broke and desperate and asking me for money. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. That's unfortunate, I said. Can we work this out? Can we try again? No. Why not? Because I don't want to. She stared at me like I was a stranger, which I suppose I was. The Alex she'd married would have taken her back. The Alex she'd been lying to for 8 months would have forgiven her. But that Alex was gone. I'm going to pack some things, she said finally. Take your time. While she was upstairs, I listened to her making phone calls, calling Sarah, calling her sister, calling anyone who might take her in. The conversations were short and awkward. When she came back down with 2 suitcases, she looked defeated. Where will you go? I asked. Sarah's for now. And Clay? I don't know, that's his problem. Smart choice. She paused at the door. Alex? Yeah? I really did love you. I know, I said. That's what made this so easy. After she left, I poured myself a drink and called Tom. Phase 4? He asked. Phase 4. The Morrison account presentation was scheduled for Thursday at 2 p.m. I knew this because Jenna had been talking about it for weeks, before her world fell apart. It was supposed to be her big moment, the presentation that would secure her promotion to senior partner. I also knew that Clay Hartford had been the one who'd introduced Jenna to the Morrison account. He'd been dating Mrs. Morrison before he'd started dating my wife. Another detail Tom had uncovered during his investigation. Wednesday evening, I made a phone call. Morrison Development, this is Patricia Morrison. Mrs. Morrison, this is Alex Denver. I believe you know my wife, Jenna Denver, from the Hartwell Agency. Oh, yes, of course. Jenna's done wonderful work for us. How can I help you? I'm calling because I thought you should know about some irregularities in how your account has been handled. What kind of irregularities? The kind that involve conflicts of interest and personal relationships that weren't disclosed to your company. There was a long pause. I think we should meet. Thursday morning, I sat in Patricia Morrison's office and laid out everything. The affair, Clay's financial problems, the fact that Jenna had been using inside information about Morrison Development's plans to help Clay's failing business. Mrs. Morrison was a sharp woman in her 50s who'd built her company from nothing. She didn't appreciate being played. Do you have proof of this? She asked. I handed her a folder containing copies of text messages, emails, and financial documents. Everything legal. Everything obtained through Tom's investigation or from Jenna's own careless digital security. She read through it all carefully. This is quite disturbing. I thought you should know before you signed any long-term contracts. I appreciate your honesty, Mr. Denver. This can't be easy for you. My wife made her choices. You shouldn't have to pay for them. At 2 p.m., I was sitting in my car across the street from the Hartwell Agency when Jenna arrived for her presentation. She looked confident, put together, ready to close the biggest deal of her career. At 2:15, she came running out of the building, her face red with anger and embarrassment. My phone rang. You bastard, she screamed into the phone. You destroyed my presentation. I have no idea what you're talking about. Morrison canceled the contract. They said there were conflicts of interest. That's unfortunate. You told them about Clay. I told them the truth. You ruined everything. No, Jenna. You ruined everything. I just made sure the right people knew about it. She was crying now, standing on the sidewalk outside her office building, while people walked past and stared. Why are you doing this to me? I'm not doing anything to you. I'm just not protecting you anymore. This is my career, Alex. This is my life. And Clay was your choice. I hung up and drove home. There were boxes stacked in the living room. The movers were coming tomorrow to take everything to storage. The new owners wanted to close early, and I was happy to accommodate them. My phone rang again. This time, it was Sarah Chen. Alex, you need to stop this. Stop what? Whatever you're doing to Jenna, she's a mess. She's been staying on my couch for 3 days, crying and making phone calls. I'm not doing anything to Jenna. She lost the Morrison account? That's unfortunate. Her boss is talking about letting her go. These things happen. Alex, she made a mistake. People make mistakes. Some mistakes have consequences. She's sorry, and I'm sure she is. Can't you forgive her? I have forgiven her, Sarah. That's why I'm not making this difficult. Not making this difficult? You sold her house. I sold our house. She'll get half the proceeds. Where is she supposed to live? That's not my problem anymore. Sarah was quiet for a moment. What happened to you, Alex? You used to be such a nice guy. I'm still nice. I'm just not stupid. Jenna loves you. Jenna loves the idea of having someone to fall back on. That's not the same thing. She wants to work things out. Then she should have thought about that 8 months ago. Friday morning, the movers came. Friday afternoon, I closed on the house. Friday evening, I had dinner with Tom at Murphy's Pub downtown. So what's next? Tom asked, raising his beer. Seattle, new job, new life, clean slate. And Jenna? What about her? You've pretty much destroyed her entire life. I've revealed her entire life. There's a difference. Tom laughed. You always were a cold bastard when someone crossed you. I prefer thorough. What about Clay? What about him? Last I heard, he was living in his car. That's unfortunate. You really don't care, do you? I thought about it. I care that justice was served. I care that actions had consequences. I care that two people who thought they could destroy someone else's life learned they were wrong. But you don't care about them personally. No, I don't. We drank in comfortable silence for a while, watching the Friday night crowd, young couples on dates, groups of friends celebrating.